Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to discuss which campaign I'm starting next for Traveler. My players and I discussed it at our last D&D session, and I took a few minutes before the game began and I said, okay, we're going to start up a new Traveler campaign, and I gave them options. Option number one was Deep Night Revelation, where there would be a command staff and crew aboard an Imperial vessel well away from the Third Imperium, exploring a mystery. Pirates of Drin-X, in my opinion, the ultimate sandbox game for pretty much any RPG. I think this is the best sandbox that I've ever read. Or being the command staff and crew aboard an Element-class cruiser in and near the Third Imperium. And they chose, to my surprise, they chose the Element-class cruiser. They are going to be the command and crew of an Element-class cruiser. I'm going to put it behind the claw in the Spinward Marches, specifically in District 268. Now, I'm not ending my other campaign that I've talked about on the channel for the last few years. That's been going about 3 years, where they were merchants and they became pirates. This campaign, they are going to be active duty aboard an Element-class cruiser. And the way I'm going to do it is I will be using the active duty rules from the Naval Campaign source book here, inside here, and there's a great book about the Element-class cruiser itself, plus a bunch of blueprints for the Element-class cruiser. I think that'll help really kind of roll things in and get everybody excited about the ship itself. I do wish the Element-class cruiser wasn't just blueprints. I wish it had been deck plans, because I could do a lot more as a GM with deck plans than I can with a bunch of blueprints, but oh well, I can absolutely make all of this work. And my idea for the campaign, any active duty campaign I was going to do next, which is either going to be Deep Night Revelation or Element-class cruiser, is that they will have 3 characters aboard ship. One will, of necessity, be in the command staff. So each of my players will play a part in the command staff of the ship. They will also have a middle rating character, so maybe a department head or an engineer, head of security, that kind of thing. And then they will have a newbie, a newer, lower down kind of character that will be played with the others. Now, the way I'm going to do it is the first game is going to be all command crew. They're going to be getting their feet wet a little bit with the game and how we're going to be running things. But the ultimate idea is that they will mix and match. So one night, one player might play as command crew guy leading an expedition, while the others play a couple of the middle guys and a couple of the lower grunts. This way I don't have the Star Trek problem of the command crew always going down and exploring things that could be dangerous and that you just don't do. It's just a good way to mix it. I've never done 3 characters aboard ship before. I did a active duty campaign back in the 80s where one of the players was playing a second character, but only because he was the one that was consistently pushing Traveler and he was the one that was making all the sessions. So he ran 2 characters, but this will be the first time I've had all my players have 3 characters. The more exciting thing for me is they've agreed to a session 0. So sometime toward the end of January, we're going to sit down and we're going to be playing a session 0. They're going to roll up their command crew or command crew character and then possibly roll up another. And I haven't figured out yet how we're going to do that, but I'm still working on the details. I'm also reading a lot out of the Element-class cruiser because the Naval Campaign source book is really good in here. It's got a lot of nice stuff on active duty. And if there's any interest in this video, then going forward, I might do one where how I develop the active duty rules for the game, how we're going to be doing it. The only thing I know for sure right now is that my oldest son, Patrick, has agreed he will be the captain. And the way we do captain in Traveler is that the captain is a nominal title for the player character, and the player character will then, quote, make the decisions, unquote. But it'll always be a little sidebar with the GM, where we talk about what they're going to do and everything, and then the group will make the decision, but it will be announced and put forward by the captain. The important thing of being the captain is, however, when there's a situation where the captain has to speak for the ship, the player has to actually do that at my table. I actually enforce that. I don't let other players chime in and throw stuff out if it's supposed to be the captain talking to the captain of the other ship or something like that. So, and Pat understands that, and he says, yeah, that won't be a problem. So this is pretty exciting for me to get them to do this and to get them to do a session 0. We are going to be doing it toward the end of January, and I'm really excited about it. They're going to be rolling at least one character, definitely the command crew character. That'll be the most intricate, difficult character. And then the middle deck character, if you will, that'll be a department head or a lieutenant or something along those lines. And then they'll be rolling a third character, which will be the lower down guys. And the idea is that if one of these characters were to be killed, they could play the other character for a while. We could roll a new character in. If they get tired of a character, they can rotate it out as a transfer and bring in a new one. All kinds of stuff like that. So I'm really excited about this. I'm going to let them also introduce another character. If they end up with a character they don't like, but they don't want to see it killed off, okay, great. You're going to go ahead and that character is going to get deployed to a different ship and you're going to play somebody else. So just give it a little more life and a little more breathing for the game. Plus I have informed them that because we're going to be playing multiple characters, or they're going to be playing multiple characters, I am going to take the opportunity to kill them periodically. And I think they're excited about that too. So we're going to see how that goes. Now, as far as the session 0 goes, I asked the question, am I filming that? And the complete answer was no. My players have decided they want the session 0 to be something they can just focus on. They don't have to watch their language. They don't have to watch any movie references or any silly stuff like that. So they said, no, we would just like to be able to relax and do a session 0. And I said, great, and that's what we're going to do. But I may do a single session 0 with somebody just as a demonstration of how to roll a character sometime down the line, maybe as they swap a character or something like that. But we're not going to be doing it as a group, and that is by my group's request. So I'm okay with that. I told them all along since I started the channel that if they did want to just do something for our group and not film it or anything like that, I would always be responsive to that request, and that's what I'm doing. One other interesting thought is my wife, Jerry, who loves science fiction and Star Trek and that kind of stuff, is not a real deep science fiction fan. And consequently, she's not going to be playing in the ongoing Traveler campaign. She usually likes to take a game or two a week, or a game or two a month off anyway, due to work and other commitments. So that works nicely too. When she's not going to play, we'll be playing the Traveler game. That's what we've been doing for the last 3 years. To be clear, Jerry has played Traveler, and she's played it many times. It's just not her cup of tea. She prefers the magic and might and majesty of a game like D&D. She does play Champions with us, but not a huge fan of dystopian things like Gamma World or just Traveler as a game. It's not her cup of tea. I've always respected that, so she will not be joining us. But all the others are going to be playing. They're going to craft their characters, and we're going to go forward. So the campaign itself will start with the session 0, and then we're going to go into the first session of actual play, and that'll be sometime in February. Traveler is usually played as a 3-to-1 kind of level at my table. My players favor D&D, specifically AD&D First Edition. That's the one they all love, and that's the one they want me to run the most, which I do. And then they humor me occasionally by playing a game like Traveler, Gamma World, Champions, Star Frontiers, Top Secret. We've played a lot of different games, and they're very good sports about humoring me. Battletech, Silent Death, we've played those as well. But back to the topic at hand, I'm really excited about the Element Class Cruiser. We're going to be behind the claw in District 268 in the Spinward Marches. This is going to dovetail for 1 or 2 episodes with my current Traveler campaign, where they're down on Avastin, and they had been merchants, then they became pirates. Now they're becoming kind of the world government on Avastin. So they'll dovetail with this for a little bit, and I'll actually do a session where some are playing their characters from the other campaign, and some are playing the characters from the new campaign. So this can take a lot of bookkeeping on my part too, and if there's any interest in showing how I'm going to be doing the bookkeeping, please let me know in the comments below, and I can go ahead and work up some stuff to demonstrate how I'm going to do it. My next step in this for the channel is to actually show some of the Naval campaign sourcebook information of how to do an active duty campaign. A couple of changes I'm going to be making. I have done active duty campaigns before. We just used the rules as written for, it was Classic Traveler that we did the first one in. We used the rules as written, except we pretty much let you live. We took out the Iron Man part of it just because the characters had to live, or we'd be there forever waiting to roll a random command staff character. So it's going to be an interesting way to do that. I'm going to talk about mustering out benefits and that kind of stuff too as we go forward. But right now, really excited. New campaign starting up toward the end of the month is going to be an active duty campaign commanding an Element class cruiser in the Spinward Marches, specifically starting in District 268, just as the Fifth Frontier War is kicking off, and their involvement with the elements of the Fifth Frontier War, which will be, of course, the Sword Worlds, the Darians, how they're going to be interacting, what they're going to be doing. I'm pretty excited about this. But that's all I've got to say today about my new campaign. I'm really excited, coming into 45 years of playing Traveler, and I'm excited that I'm still creating new campaigns. So let me know what you think, how you've done your campaigns. Have you ever done an active duty campaign? If so, was it fun? Or did you find it too restricting? Let me know. But that's all I got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Let's keep the channel growing, so like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. Always looking for any kind of suggestions or comments on stuff you've done with Traveler that maybe I should be adapting, maybe ways I should take a look, or other books I should take a look at. I have a very deep Traveler library, so any ideas like that, let me know. Also, please take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there to keep the channel going. But that's all I've got today on page 121. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.